And we back and we live. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch Your Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. Not gonna happen this video. That's all right. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Best. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hi, everybody. Happiest of holidays. Happy Saturday. I hope that you subscribe to James's channel, like the video. It's an easy and free way to support us creators. It really does make a difference.
Absolutely. And while you subscribing to me, go ahead and subscribe to Mrs. Best as well, because any reviews or recaps I don't cover on my channel, we cover on her channel, such as Love and Hip Hop Miami and also Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So if you enjoy those shows as much as we do, you go head over to Mrs. Best's channel and subscribe to that channel so you can catch us every week recovering or covering those the TV shows. Ooh, I was going with the flow and then it messed up. Shout out to DM Rocks, who's already here with us. We appreciate you joining. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to get into this because y'all, almost every single person on this cast got on my nerves at some point. So I got to read everybody accordingly. I didn't think I was going to have to do this. And then my mind is changing on one of my favorites on the show. I just can't believe it. And then someone who really I can't see it for actually had a very good point this episode. Yeah, that's just like white folks. I tell you. Just like. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into it. So we start off with Meredith. Meredith is at her house with her kids and her husband. You know, they're smelling scents for her bath bomb, and she's going around with the little fragrances, putting it in everybody's nose and face, and telling them, she said, smell that, make sure it, smells nice. And all Seth as his messy queen self wanted to talk about was what happened at the bar mitzvah. And Meredith pretty much said that, Brooks came up to her and said that Brittany was really upset, and it was about Angie calling her, a slut and slut shaming her. And I was triggered by it. And yeah, we're gonna get to that. That shit made me emotional too. And she just basically goes, Angie with her just, bitterness towards the other women, and she's always saying something that just, is just disheartening. She's slut shaming. She's, always talking about people's marriages and their children, and I am just sick of it. And then when I threw her out of the event, she had talked about her gift and everything. And Chloe, the daughter, said, "And you know what else that bothered me, Mom? Is when she said it was her husband, Sean. He was all like, hear both sides, hear both sides." And I'm looking at this little girl like, little girl, that is what adults do in circumstances like this, because your mom came in after the fact that the shit has happened and only saw one side of it. And because she was triggered by this same person without knowing the details, she just decided, hey, I'm just going to throw her out my party because I'm triggered because she did the same thing to me too. Now, in hindsight, is Meredith wrong for feeling that way? No. But it is the adult thing to do is to hear both sides of the story. How did this conversation happen? And which she'll learn later on that it wasn't really Angie who started the shit. So, but that's just Meredith for you. And then Meredith said, and then when we were on our camping trip, she made fun of my impairments and everything. And I said, Meredith, here we go with this victim shit. Making fun of someone's impairment is basically saying, Meredith, you can't hear like Meredith. So you know what? You need to borrow her hearing aids. All Angie said, why don't you borrow Meredith's hearing aids so you can turn them up and hear what I'm saying? She was making a slight diss. She wasn't talking about people with hearing impairments, but because you're going to grab onto the grass for everything but, the air in life, you're going to run with it. And that's just completely sad. So Mrs. Best, how did you feel about this whole Meredith scene? And do you feel she has a point, or do you think she's playing the victim?
I don't like any of those people in this scene. Not one of them. The daughter seems special. I'm sick of Brooks. Um, I don't know. Meredith is always reaching just to have a moment to stay relevant because she doesn't want to discuss what's going on in her actual household. between her and her husband. The fact that her kids seem to be very annoyed with her 90% of the time, which is actually pretty normal of kids that age. But Meredith, that's just strange. Like, I'm gonna say this: whenever the hell I become a parent, I vow to never talk to my child about my old lady drama when I'm Meredith's age. Like, I'm not gonna do it. But I don't know. I think it was a little much for her to do when she only knew one side of the story. Especially, I had time to think it over, and I'm like, you know what? Meredith and the group has seen how Brittany can be over dramatic, overly emotional, to where she can stretch the truth, stretch it, just like 3 men turn to 10 men. Like, she doesn't lie, but she's stretching the truth, if that kind of makes sense. So, if you know this about this woman, then at the very least, at least talk to Angie and say, hey, this is my bar mitzvah. My family's here. My children are here. You need to get your shit together and act like you have some sense. At the very least, do that before having security put her out. But I don't think Meredith's family gave a damn about what happened.
I don't think so either because at the end of it, Brooke said, "Well, it wasn't like a shade to you. It was your superpower, meaning that you're overreacting over nothing." See, he was telling the truth. That just went over Meredith's head. It's not a disability. It's not your disability. It's your superpower. Because if she wasn't talking about Meredith in particularly. She was just saying Meredith made it obvious to the group and apparent to the group when she made the announcement, I'm actually getting hearing aids. So you have them. So it's not like she made up something or she told your business out of, confidence. You told the group you're getting hearing aids. It's not that big of like Meredith, as I said, she's gonna grasp onto any type of thing that makes her a victim. And I'm tired of Meredith with this. I need you to grow up. I need you to grow up because not everything is a slight. And another thing that she talked about that we kind of glanced over a little bit because it's not really pertinent, but I want to talk about it now, is she had made another point aside from the slut shaming and coming to events and starting things with people. She was also talking about how Sean and Angie were coming at Brooks. And I said, Meredith, you can't prove that they did. And I listened to the interview. He didn't say anything about Brooks. He said that you tried to cover your ass when it came to the insinuation with the rumors that you allege were already out there. You said you want to talk about the husbands because we can go there. You never alluded to what that meant. And when Monica put it out there that she's heard gay rumors, that could have enticed right there. So what they were saying was you were using your son to say that you would never out somebody, put somebody on intersectionality. And that's exactly what it sounded like last season. We all had that impression. So she can miss me with that. I don't. That's why I don't see it for Meredith right now. And I used to love Meredith, and I don't know. Hi Naya, thank you for joining us, love. We appreciate you. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Is there anything you want to add to that, Mrs. Best?
No, sir. I agreed with all that you spoke.
Very good. We're gonna move on. So Mary goes over to Angie's house, and when I tell you, Mary was at that door, and I was hollering because she couldn't open the door. She didn't know how to do it, and Miss J.
It's the truth.
She
Meredith has
is.
nothing.
Yeah.
Meredith has absolutely nothing. Nothing for many seasons. Get rid of
Right.
her. And she
Get
always
that.
got to be a victim. Just take her away.
Right. Just please do something with her because I can't with her. But we thank you for being here, Miss J. We really appreciate you. So moving on, Mary's at Angie's house. She couldn't open the door and she's knocking on the door. No one's coming in. So she just lets herself in and she's like, Angie, I'm here. Angie, are you home? So she just goes and sits on the couch. And Angie comes in the kitchen with a bouquet of roses and she's trying to get ready for Mary, not knowing that Mary's already there. And I'm delaying a little bit. Let me go off camera for a little bit. I'll be back, guys, on camera. But she goes in there and literally peeks over at Angie as Angie's getting her stuff together. She goes, peekaboo, and it scares the shit out of Angie. And I laughed until I cried because she goes, oh my God, I didn't know you were here. And see, and that's what I'm talking about. Who doesn't lock their front door? Or was it maybe production?
I think the front doors are often unlocked when they're filming because production is coming in and out. And then the other piece, she could have left it unlocked because she was expecting a guest. She may also live in a safer neighborhood and all those good things. But I was looking up. I said that Mary is funny.
She's funny without even trying. And like she is just comedic gold. She was the perfect casting choice. I'm telling you, I love Mary. But they begin talking. So Mary's finally gonna open up to Angie about what's going on with her family. And I loved this conversation. And it also was another moment where it was pulling on my heartstrings because I tried not to cry. The first time when Mary's son opened up to her, I cried, y'all. I really did because I just could not imagine. And when she's having this conversation with Angie, she lets her know that of all of the things that her son told her, the drugs, there was heroin, even though I didn't hear him say that the first time, but I guess that may have been just an edit choice. They probably just edited that out. She talked about the acid mixing it with oxy. She talked about all kind of stuff that he was on. And Angie just so taken back. And Mary just pretty much told Angie that, you know, she felt like she messed up somewhere. She felt like she wasn't there. And a lot of parents, when their children do skirt to drugs and alcohol and addictions and everything, they do blame themselves because they feel like they missed the mark on somewhere. And it's really unfortunate because a lot of PK kids go through this. A lot of PK kids get on drugs or they have babies or they have a wild phase. They do because they've been so confined to this life of having to be perfect and look perfect in front of a congregation, the church members, everything like it. So I think that really did play a huge part in why he may have went that direction. But I don't want Mary to really blame herself for that because there's nothing you could have did. You gave that boy a wonderful life. You made sure he had everything he needed. He went to really good schools. So I don't want her to really blame herself, but it hurt me to see her so emotional and so, down on herself for not noticing it or not really intercepting at a point where before it became too late. And Angie, yes, and I agree with that. Angie is really a true friend. Like Angie is a girl's girl. I have to give it to Angie. I mean, I like Angie at times, but she really, when it comes down to it, to her friendships,
When
she
Angie
definitely.
is loyal to somebody, she will be loyal to them. I think the only reason Angie sometimes comes off as odd is I think in a group setting, she tends to do too much. And I think her friendship with Lisa causes people to question her a little bit. But I was surprised for a second. I was like, huh, Mary went to Angie over Meredith. When they just made peace, you would expect for Mary to go to Meredith because that was her longest standing, closest friendship. But her going to Angie just tells me that something about Angie is very personable, welcoming, safe for a lot of these women. She's a girl's girl, but then at the same time, she does too much in arguments. But Angie not just gonna come for people.
Right,
Not just gonna
exactly.
come for people. You got to start with her for her to bother you.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. Um, Yeah, a lot of people, yeah, a lot of mothers. I'm glad Mary is getting so much support. That's another thing because the way this franchise did Mary in the beginning, I'm glad the fans of the show and the other Bravo celebrities out there are really rallying behind Mary as they should because
I
nobody looked
hope
after
people
Mary.
don't forget that. Like
Hmm.
people like Heather, people like Whitney, they specifically were not very supportive of Mary at all, didn't care to ask or figure out what's wrong with her. Even Meredith had a moment of pause that
Yep.
was like, Mary does not act like this, so something has to be wrong. So I am glad that people are supporting her. But when she came in to even meet with Angie, when she came into the house, we were laughing and stuff. If you pay close attention, her nose was red as hell. You could tell she just been crying and
Right.
blowing her nose, and even makeup couldn't cover it. So I'm glad that she's sharing it. I hope that people don't judge her because addiction is in all over the world. Everybody is impacted in some way. But it was sad. I cried. I keep crying. It's like, damn it, Mary, I can't watch this
Yeah,
show
Mary,
without
like
tearing
come
up.
on, like. But as I said, we're Mary's getting the recognition she deserves. And she deserves a lot more because Mary put the show on the map. Because without Mary, this show was going to fail. So I'm just saying, you know, yeah. And that's another thing. They all are self absorbed. Like they really all are. And it's so sad because I don't feel like that translates well on camera. Like when we're trying to root for you as people and be entertained by you, but at the same time, it's really disheartening when you all are self-absorbed in crazy ways. Like we can't support, like a lot of people can't support that. We can watch it, but when it comes down to the reality, when you get into it with somebody who we feel like is less self-absorbed, we're not gonna have your side, even no matter how much we like you. So, but that was pretty much the scene with Angie. Mary, I appreciate Mary so much for opening up about this. And I appreciate Mary for just really being transparent, in regards of that. But hold on, y'all. Give me one. Okay, sorry about that, y'all. But anyways, moving on from there. Um, we then have a scene where all the ladies are packing for Puerto Vallarta. So, Lisa planned this amazing trip and everyone's getting ready for it, with the exception of Mary. Mary's going to meet them there later because she has to make sure that Robert Jr. is going to be okay, because Mary also lets us know in her confessional.
Where is Robert Sr.? Where is this boy's daddy?
You took the words right out of my. I was just about to say this.
This is
Where's
why the
Robert Sr.,
Bible says
Mary?
you are not to praise the preachers. You is to praise the Lord, not the preachers, not the pastors. Ain't nothing holy about the. Because where is this boy's daddy? Why would. And Mary's crying in the camera, I don't have help. It's me. Why is this man not helping with his child? Where is he?
That's what I want to know. Where is Robert Senior? Why can't Robert Senior come back from Florida or Vegas, wherever the fuck he at? Why can't he be with you right now, helping you get this boy? Because she did say on Watch What Happens Live that she had to turn to him because she didn't know what to do. But I'm like, well, why couldn't you do that now? See, he leaves town way too much for me. Look, if we're gonna be married and we're gonna be together, I need you to be home at some point. You ain't got to be in my room. You can
Well,
be
they
over here.
divorcing. She filed for divorce, so.
She said there's no paperwork on that. I looked it up.
Oh, Lord.
There's no paperwork on divorce. So I don't know if it's true or not. Yeah, someone can, they like, I made a couple people look it up. There's no filing. And I know you can't really see a file. So I'm wondering if he just never got served. That's what I'm wondering. I wonder if maybe she did it and she just didn't go forward with it.
Hmm. And I don't care how sick you are. We would hear her saying, let me send him, or let's go across the country to be with his father. She's not even trying to meet him.
Mary can,
So
Vegas and Utah, Salt Lake and Vegas is not that far of a drive. She can
she
get in
could
the car with
drive.
him and then drive right up to their house in Vegas and be like, "Here, go with your daddy, because I ain't got time to leave you at home by yourself with you, that little girl. So go ahead and go with your daddy, and I will come get you when I'm back." So, oh no, 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 Naya. Now you know I love you, but that's not no. that was triggered, Naya. Come on now. It don't matter if he ain't the fatherly type.
He
He
should
still has.
never have married his step grandchild. And when you make a child that, and she says she prayed over him and all of those things, so it was a planned child. So he should very much so be present in some way. He doesn't have to be on camera, but Mary has not once mentioned during the season that he is present. He needs to be more present.
He does. It doesn't matter if he's the father type or not. I didn't make this baby by myself, and I'd be damned if you could just skate out of town every 2 seconds and I don't have no help from you. That's what I say. Either I need to go bring him to you, and like I said, Vegas is not. If he's in Vegas, that's not a far drive from Salt Lake City. So she can drive to Vegas and say, "Get your ass out this car, and we're gonna go right there." No, I get it, but older black men have different, harsher ways of doing things. Family is last on. No, they do, and I agree with that as well. And that's so unfortunate, though, because I think that that's why a lot of black, I'm gonna say black kids, I'm gonna say men and women, have so much like messed up traits as individuals and grow up in this world, and we just pass the pathology down from kid to kid to kid to kid, and we don't know how to break that cycle because it's embedded in us. It really is. So no, that's a very true word. I'd appreciate that, Naya. Mary's on her, it wouldn't be me. I wouldn't care what that marriage would look like. Bring your ass here. Our son is going through crazy trenches right now. I need you home. I know whatever arrangement we got, I need your ass to get home so you can come to us and we can get this going because our child needs help. That's all I'm saying. Hmm. It is like for her to say that, I'm just like, well, damn. Then what the hell did you get married for? Why are y'all still married? If you can't count on him in a moment where it's dire, like I could see if the shit was petty, like if he was stealing or if he was doing some crazy shit, like sleeping all day, not going to work or something. I could see if it was something like that. That you kind of can handle because you just tell him to get the hell out. But this is addiction. And from what Mary said on Watch What Happens Live, that Robert Sr. had an addiction at one point. So I would think him of all people should be there present to say, hey, you got to shake this. Unless it's still current, but I don't know. We don't see Robert Sr., so we don't know. But my heart broke for Mary because I'm like, Mary, you got to pull your pants up and be like, look, bring your ass home because I'm telling you, and it's not. But at the same time, to Mary, that's the reason why she wanted her lifestyle. And if it wasn't going to be Mary, it was going to be her mom because remember, she said her mom wanted to marry Robert Sr. So I mean, I've seen people do crazy things for money, so I mean, hey, it is what it is. But as we said, we praying for Mary. We hope that everything goes well. We know her son just left rehab, so we're hoping that he's on the straight and narrow. We understand that the little girl he's married to, she's still in there. So, and that's probably who. No, I'm just playing. I'm not going to say that, but yeah, I'm gonna stop mentioning her on my channel. I really am because every time I see her name, I'm just like, get her off my screen. But anyways, we're gonna move on. So the ladies are, arrive at Puerto Vallarta, and Lisa is showing them around the villa, which is beautiful. I needed to get the name of that hotel because I would love to do a family trip because that's about the right amount of space we need. Yeah, we all praying for Robert.
It's the Vidanta. It's a very nice hotel.
Text that to
It's
me because
also
I'm
affordable. It's a 5 night minimum, and for like the basic villa, it's like 1,500. It's an all inclusive.
yes, absolutely. So thank you for the information, Mrs. Best. I wrote that down. So now Lisa's giving the room assignments. And she puts her, Meredith, Brittany, and who was the other person? Heather, in one villa. And then she puts Bronwyn, Whitney, Angie, and Mary in the other one because she figured since all the other girls are on the outs with Brittany, it would be better for her to room with them. And since Bronwyn, um, Whitney and Angie, they're getting along. To her knowledge, she didn't know that they fell out, but to her knowledge, they were getting along. So she figured she would be in the best place. Bronwyn is pissed about this because Bronwyn lets us know that she, was coming on this trip after being in the emergency room. She had a dog attack her, and we actually saw the scars of the bites and everything and her bruises. So she was in pretty bad condition. Not to mention that she's not really good with Angie and Whitney. So that's another stain right there. Mary's not really there to be the middle ground person. So she's just really stuck. So she's mad at Lisa for putting her in the predicament that she's in. But mind you, Lisa doesn't know any of this at this point. So I kind of felt like Bronwyn, that was your opportunity to say, hey, well, hold on, let's revisit this. Could Heather maybe go into the room with Angie and Whitney because she's good with them, and I come over here with you because you're my friend? So I kind of felt like that was Bronwyn's mess up. So Bronwyn kind of pissed me off a little bit with that because it kind of just sounded like she was just complaining of being grouchy the entire time. So, but she doesn't say anything. She does. She kind of makes it apparent, but then she walks off and goes into the rooms. Yeah, her bites were. I was like, oh damn! I hope y'all suing them people because that was pretty extreme. At least get the emergency bill paid and maybe some pain and suffering money because that's pretty crazy. Lisa is clueless and does not care about Brownie or on her films. She doesn't. And I say it probably wouldn't matter if Bronwyn told her, but and we're gonna see that pretty much, going
She
forward.
shouldn't have to tell her though. I came on this show as your friend.
Yeah.
I told you I don't feel like your friend. On Bronwyn's trip, everybody was equal in rooms and things like that. The only thing that wasn't equal was the plane fare, which you can't even blame her for because anybody who's been to Palm Springs or is familiar with California understands that they have a smaller airport and limited flights. So she probably did the best she could. I just, why put someone who doesn't know the rest of the woman, who is having issues with the other woman because everybody is telling Lisa how they feel about her? Why would you put her away from you. So I got what she was saying, but at the same time, you are a housewife on the show, a full-time housewife on this show. So you cannot just get by as Lisa's friend. Eventually you're gonna have to make your own market, make your own friends, and be separate from each other. I
Thank
don't
you
think
for winning.
that Lisa did that with like malintentions. I really think she was just trying to keep everybody who she knew was beefing
Hmm.
separately. But I think Bronwyn has felt the way because Lisa has not stood up for her the way that she should. And I feel
Yeah.
like Bronwyn may be a grudge holder and is holding on to that and is hypersensitive to every little thing. But
And
yeah, I
she,
agree. She was annoying the whole episode.
no, it's just because to me, Bronwyn, where Bronwyn messed up at is I would have pulled Lisa to the side and say, hey, right now I'm not good with Angie and I'm not good with Whitney right now because we had a little issue and you were there for some of it when we did the camping thing and you saw Angie was talking to me and you saw at Meredith's event that it was a lot of back and forth and everything. So could you maybe ask Heather, since that's her cousin and also her high school friend, to maybe room with them, and when Mary gets there, and then I room with y'all because I, even though I don't like Brittany, I don't have a problem with you or Meredith. I feel like she should have worded it like that, and maybe Lisa would have probably said, "Okay, we can do that. We can do that."
The one
So
part I
yeah,
didn't like though, James, I didn't understand why Lisa was even thinking about Brittany's comfort. This bitch is a friend of, she's not a
right.
housewife at all. All she's done is lie, stir up drama, and make pointless announcements. Why are you catering to her? If anything, who cares where Brittany goes? She should be glad to be invited. Hell.
That's what I'm saying. I kind of did feel that way as well, but we'll get to that in a minute. This time, Lisa did the right thing with the roomie situation. I thought she did too, but then keep in mind, if I'm on the outs with Whitney and Angie, even though they weren't really mean to her, they were just kind of taking a step back. They entertained her conversation, which we'll get to in a second, and so it wasn't like it would have been a big problem. But I saw Lisa's logic. I did. I saw Lisa's logic, but once again, Brittany's a friend of who is getting on everybody's nerves. So I felt like they were giving her way too much kid glove attention. That's how I felt. Yeah, Mia did do that. Yeah, absolutely. She needs to be a housewife. I feel like she's gonna replace Whitney.
Who?
Brittany.
She could because Whitney's not giving anything at all.
Oh, we're gonna
And when
get.
she goes through scandals and stuff, she don't talk about it. I don't care to see Whitney and her large head on the show anymore. Large head, small neck.
I feel like production, because of our reception to Britney, I feel like they're going to replace Whitney with Britney. I do feel like that for some reason. It hit me because I know they're not going to replace Heather. Heather has the Giselle Bryant treatment.
Because
Heather's not going to
Brittany
do
makes for good television.
it.
It's just the way that she is naturally being erratic and overly hypersensitive, drama, messy. It makes good TV. Like
Yeah.
people getting emotional and not liking her is gold for the network. So I feel
Hmm.
like you're probably right. And then Whitney, she just does not give, James. I
They
don't
got to
think
get rid of
Whitney.
somebody. They're getting rid of. I feel like they're getting rid of somebody, and they can't just add Brittany to. That's too many housewives. So I feel like they're probably going to cut Whitney and give her salary to Brittany. I do. I feel like that's going to happen. So moving on from there, the ladies then go out and have a little bit of a drink, and not Miss Timu Whitney, but yeah, because we're over Whitney. Um, and Brittany with her little announcement, ting 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 ting, ting 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 ting. And I'm looking at her like, what now? And she wants to say, oh, well, you guys. So like the other night, my daughter came over with her friend and she spent the night and we had a great time talking. And I'm looking at her like, so? And what Brittany tells us in her confessional is that she has two daughters from her first marriage. And when it got to her second marriage, her daughters, because of whatever happened in that marriage, was she conveniently left out all of the details of what happened in that second marriage to why her daughters don't speak. So now you're putting it in our minds of us to guess what may have happened to a point that your daughters would no longer speak to you. So I'm like thinking, well, damn, Brittany, what did you do? Like, why would your daughters not speak to you after the second marriage? Hell, did you put them in a damn closet with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and tell them fend for yourself? What happened? I need to know now because that didn't make sense to me. So yeah, and that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me that you were so caught up in wanting a man so bad that you would neglect your own children. That's crazy as hell.
Why couldn't she show us her reaching out to her daughters, and it looks like only one of the daughters is okay to be shown on camera. I don't know. It's very strange, the whole situation. But the fact that she has daughters worries me. What happened in that second marriage? I agree with that, James. What happened?
Hmm.
That's all I could think. You have little girls and they will not speak to their mother. It takes a lot for, in my opinion, a daughter not to speak to her
Hmm.
mama.
It
It
does.
takes a
That's what I'm
lot
saying.
for
I want to
any
know what
kid.
happened because that's drastic. For them
What's
not to have a
drastic?
relationship with you, like that's crazy. Maybe if she would have made her kids a priority, she wouldn't be having all these problems. Period. No, that it's that. But I feel like something major had to have happened for the daughters, especially one, because one, I think one is grown, and maybe the other one probably isn't grown yet. I feel like she had to have done something crazy. Like it has to be like, and maybe it was the husband. I don't know. But because she's leaving it out there for us to guess, no matter what we come up with, it's going to be bad. Karma is damaging, and it really is. She's gonna have to pay for that shit. She really is. She gonna have to pay for that. But the other ladies in their confession were cracking me up, especially Lisa. Lisa was all like, "Brittany will make an announcement just to go to the bathroom." Like, Brittany, we don't care anymore. Like, you need to stop doing this. And I actually agree with Lisa. It it's really tiring that you got to make an announcement over shit you should be doing anyways. You should already have a relationship with your child. It shouldn't be no situation to where you excited because she came over and spent the night. That shit sounded crazy coming out of her mouth. Yeah. I feel like it was something major. I feel like something happened. I don't want to go to like the crazy, crazy. Y'all know what I'm going. Y'all know where I'm going with this. I don't want to go to Lifetime Movie Network kind of scandals. But Brittany's making me go there and think that. She's making me think the worst by her not saying what it was. So if y'all do decide to make her a full-time housewife, there needs to be some conditions. And one of those conditions is she needs to put it out there what happened with her second husband and those daughters. Because now we need to know because she already opened up the can of worms. She might as well put them in a bowl. That's how I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Right. That shit was crazy. So they sit down collectively on one side. It was Heather, Lisa, Meredith, Brittany, and Meredith. And then on the other side, it was Angie, Whitney, and Bron. And this is what gets me. So Bronwyn decides at this very moment, hey, Nikki C, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. I appreciate you so much. Sometimes it takes a lot, but other kids just want to their way and feel wronged when they have actually been wrong from experience. That's also true too. That is also true too. That's why it would behoove her to at least get a version, at least have one of the daughters speak their experience. I'm hoping that's a situation because then I will feel better with knowing what it was versus the thoughts that are in my mind about Brittany already. Because then maybe I can have a come to Jesus moment with her versus where I feel today is I feel the worst happened to them little girls and I feel bad for them. I do because their mom seems to still be moving in whatever direction that was. Does that make sense, Mrs. Best?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. So Brahma takes his point to tell Lisa that, the room situation, she feels like, why are you, being a better friend to Brittany than you are to me, your long-standing friend of 10 years, putting me in a room situation where I have two girls that are not talking to me right now. And Lisa said, are you guys really not talking to Bronwyn? And both Whitney and Angie nodded their heads. Yes, we're not talking to her. I mean, we were cordial because, we didn't want to make it rude, like, inappropriate with her in the room. But no, we're not talking to her. And I felt like this. And hold on, let me explain more of the situation. Sorry. So Brittany pipes up and said, well, maybe she likes me better than you. And Brahma looked at Brittany. She said, Brittany, I am not talking to you. So I am not even looking at you. I'm talking to Lisa. And Lisa was like, I thought the roads were beautiful. And I thought the accommodations were beautiful. Everything was beautiful. The hotel's beautiful. We're going to have an amazing trip. I planned this so greatly that it's just going to be amazing. So I wouldn't think that you would have any complaints about it. And Brahma said, that's rich coming from you, considering when I threw a trip, you complained about everything. And Lisa's like, well, you know, I don't like Coach Bronwyn. You know this. You're like, you know how I am. And Brittany kept inserting herself, and Bronwyn had to keep shutting her down. And at that point, I could tell Bronwyn was getting pissed, and she wanted to go to fuck off on Brittany, but she was trying to hold her composure. She really was, because I think in the back of her mind, she's thinking about her husband and what he's saying. But because she was toned down, she didn't go off like she did in Palm Springs. She did it very much toned down, go off. And so she's telling her that I always consider you, I always make sure you're comfortable and everything. And I just want you to do the same for me. I want you to pretend like you are my friend, the friend you were before I joined this situation. And Lisa's like, I treat all my friends wonderful. Everyone does. I love everybody. And this is everything is great. Lisa doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. And that's because in Lisa's mind, she felt like she did what was best, which to the viewing audience, Bronwyn, it really was the best solution considering she didn't know the turmoil that you were in with both Angie and Whitney. So if you had a problem with where you were with them, you should have pulled her to the side right when you saw the room accommodations and said, hey, look, ask, or maybe you could have went to Heather and said, Heather, look, I'm not really in the best place with your cousin and Angie right now. Do you think maybe you could take my place and I have your room so that way it's more comfortable for me? She could have went to Heather. I feel like Bronwyn was tripping. And I know that I'm probably gonna catch hell for that, but I feel like Bronwyn was tripping. Mrs. Best, how did you feel? Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, she was. I could tell she was in a lot of pain, probably as well. So anything was going to naturally irritate her too. So, Mrs. Best stepped off for a minute off camera, or she might be having
I'm
trouble.
here.
Oh,
My husband was asking me something. I'm so sorry.
no, that's okay. No, I was asking you. Do you think Bronwyn was tripping, or
Um, I don't think that the issue was big enough for Bronwyn to be so upset that she brings it up at a table. I also feel like her bringing it up at the table was contradictory because she wanted Lisa to come to her and talk to her about stuff and defend her and all of that. So I'm a firm believer in practice what you preach. But she did have some points. Lisa, don't get mad that I got a problem with this room when you were making offensive comments throughout the trip. At the end of the trip, you acted a fool on my trip. But Bronwyn, if you didn't check Lisa about that prior, then don't check her about it now because it suits you. So does
absolutely?
that make sense? So I'm like, I don't know. That Bronwyn, she or not, she annoyed me this whole episode, and I've been annoyed with her since she acted like she was Britney's friend, turned on Britney, started all the like I don't know. Bronwyn is wishy-washy, is what I'm seeing.
She is like she to me. It felt like, and I didn't see this coming. I really didn't, but it felt like she threw Angie and Whitney under the bus to get back in Lisa's good gracious, and I didn't like that. I told you I was watching her, and I was like, that kind of threw me off. The way she was acting on that camping trip, that threw me off about her because I was like, see, you didn't even have to do all of that. And I was on team. I was team Brahman the entire time, y'all, up until that episode. I started seeing things. It seems like she was doing like the whole like, oh, I'm about to, be with the popular girl clique, kind of like what Jen Shaw did season one. I hate I have to mention that lady's name because I said I wasn't on my channel, but I'm going to use it as a reference. But it seemed like how Jen Shaw was trading Heather for Meredith and Lisa because they were the popular girls. It definitely was given Brahman was doing the same thing. She didn't have the coins, but she came across way too needy. Way too needy. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely, I agree. So the ladies then go sit around the table because the waiter, as they're arguing, the waiter says, "Hey, your table is ready." So they go to their table and it's assigned seating. Meredith, in the beginning, asked the concierge to put a Brooke Smarts bag on, at the table for dinner. So when Angie gets to her, table, Whitney says, "Oh, you have a bag in your chair." So Angie doesn't know what this is from, but as soon as she looked in the bag, she immediately looked at Meredith and gave her the fuck? Why is this here? So and Meredith is just at the table just smirking. And she go, and so Angie begins taking the things out to show everybody. And she goes, I brought you a journal. And Meredith said, well, to my knowledge, you wanted all that back. And Angie was so taken back. She goes, Meredith, like, no, I gave you this stuff as a gift. And I mentioned that you didn't get me a gift when it came to my anniversary party, but I got you a gift when it came to, your bar mitzvah and everything. And Meredith doesn't care. Meredith was like, you know what, Angie, I threw you out of there. And Brittany chimes in again and says, well, she did that because you called me a slut and you said I had porn tits and you said I was doing 10 guys. And Meredith said, she said three, Brittany, don't. And Brown was sitting at the table like, that is not what happened. And so Bronwyn in her confessional was pretty much saying, let me give y'all the rundown. So when we got to Meredith's bar mitzvah, Brittany was feeling away about Angie and the comment that she said during 10 guys. And she made the comment that maybe that's what Angie did to get Sean. Pretty much saying that, she sleeps around or slept around before she got to Sean. So then when we go to the table, I told Angie, being messy, that Brittany said it because I don't really like Brittany. So that's really what it was. So Brittany did start it, and Brahma made it clear, you did start with her because she didn't say that you were a slut. She said you had high body count hair. And when Angie threw that conditioner and shampoo up in Brittany's face, I hollered. I said, because you knew that was going. I knew that was going to make her cry. I just knew it. And she goes, "Oh, Angie, that's a whole new low." And Meredith said, you see what she does, you see." And I'm like, Meredith, shut up. Okay, nobody's talking to you. Nobody's directing anything to you. We now have an issue with Brittany now because she wants to insert herself into all of these arguments because she says that she's the root of the problem, which she is. So now we off you now. And Angie says, I didn't call you no slut. I did not slut shame you. And I think it was Brown who says that Meredith only had one side of the story, which Meredith did. So Meredith went on an impulse. So because Meredith realizes that at this moment now, she then, when everyone is silent, because the waiter was trying to get everybody's orders and was trying to, get everyone's attention, but they were still going back and forth. Meredith said, okay, well, you know what, Angie, I'm going to apologize for throwing you out of my event because I didn't know that there was more to this story. And I said, ain't that about a bitch? I ain't that about a bitch. Instead of you asking, like Sean told you to get both sides because you probably realized that Brittany started the shit in the first place. Now you want to come back now that everyone has brought to your attention that it really wasn't Angie. Angie was defending herself, talking about, Brittany having a high body count hair and outfit. Now you want to go over there and say, okay, maybe I need to apologize. See, Meredith ain't shit, y'all. Meredith ain't shit. And if I was Angie, I would have called that shit out. Oh, so now that you have all the facts, now you want to come out to me and apologize. I wouldn't have accepted it. I just wouldn't have. Because to me, you jumped to a conclusion way too quickly about what may have happened based on your own trauma of that person. And that's
The
not fair.
right thing that Meredith should have done if she insisted on putting anybody out, she should have put Angie and Brittany out because both of them were acting a fool at her event. If that was the case, you got one crying to your kids around the damn event. You got the other one throwing jackets and hollering, starting fights with people. They both should have been put out. However, I think the only reason Meredith apologized was because Heather spoke up and was like, wait, what? Because I was looking at Heather as the camera's panning, showing the other women's reactions, and Heather looked like, oh my God, I done fucked up the church's pieces of change. I'm the one that brought this heifer to this show. I thought the Osmond thing would make it good, but the man they barely filmed. They already tired of me because I lied about my black eye. Heather was over there looking stressed out and at one point had to check Brittany, who is her friend. So I feel like when Heather spoke up, definitely Meredith apologized because of that. But I don't like Meredith. Meredith gives me, and I've never liked Meredith. She gives me Karen to a certain extent. Like she has to be a victim. She has to be the one that, is looking innocent in things. And I don't trust that. So I'm just tired of these heifers as a whole. Once again, a person who is not part of the cast is helping to make the show interesting. I don't like Brittany, but a person who's not a part of the official cast is helping to make the show interesting, as well as somebody who was new to the show. Not the people already on the show, except for Angie. I'm actually warming up to Angie. I couldn't stand her, but now I love her. But I'm sick of all of these heifers, James, talking about all of it. Like, at the end of the day, Meredith, if your bar mitzvah was important to you, you would speak up and say that is not how you act at a religious event. That was my bar mitzvah. I didn't appreciate that from either of you. Didn't come out her mouth once. So I'm
No,
just
and it wouldn't have because Meredith is one of those people that she hangs on and clings on to things for dear life, like she really does, and that shit didn't even need to be necessary. But I really didn't want to give Heather any credit on my channel. That's why I avoided that because I didn't want to give her no shine. But Heather was right. Heather did call Brittany out, saying she lied about the wine situation when it came to Angie. Um, you know how it came good, became good. Let me explain. Let me explain. There's three pillars here. Mary becoming a full time housewife was one thing because the thing that we're all focusing on now, which is getting everyone tearjerkers and joy, is her son's addiction, and she's being transparent about it. That's the one thing, and we knew she was going to read these ladies for filth, which is what she has done this entire time. Another thing that is really coming out is Bronwyn. Bronwyn is controversial. She is not afraid of any of them. She's going to say what she means, and she does it in the most. It is passive aggressive, but it's also very intriguing and very funny because they haven't had like a wild hit. She kind of gives a Monica tease, except she's more honest. And I think that that's what the show needed. So I can appreciate that for Bronwyn. So it wouldn't surprise me actually if they never brought Monica back because Bronwyn gives Monica, but just an honest version. Monica wasn't honest. So I think that that's why we're here for that. And then the third thing, unfortunately, as much as I like to hate her, is Brittany. Brittany is making all of us who have common sense just become extremely angry at her. And that's what we love. We love when a housewife or a friend of makes us angry at her, but at the same time, we know she's needed. It was kind of like Marlo Hampton. A lot of people loved Marlo because Marlo was messy. She stirred all kind of shit up, but she was very much someone that the show did not let go of until
I
they made
think
her from.
this show is also doing better and is more interesting because these women are often in group settings more than other housewife franchises. And when you get the women in a group setting, you're guaranteed to have something go down, whether it's funny, lighthearted, real like Mary scenes, or the crazy shenanigans. It's definitely going to help. We don't have to watch these women like at home constantly, individually. Thank God.
I'm gonna say this. I don't know if it's black friends or if it's gay friends. It might be both. But she do got some culture in her for sure. The way she read these people, that is not no lily white spring lady.
Bronwyn had her baby in college. The dad left, then he passed away. She met her husband working in business, not just on a fluke or being in the right place at the right time. She built a career for herself. She understands the true meaning of starting from the bottom and working your way up. I think we forget that. Of course, she's much richer because of her husband, but she understands what it's like to be at each stage in life, at each socioeconomic status. I think that's what helps her to feel a little bit more real, especially as a female in a male dominated field of business, which she was in. So she definitely, she definitely worked her way up. And I
Absolutely.
think it helped.
Yes. I'm the child Jim Bunny. Hi, thank you for being here. I'm sorry the notification didn't come for this live, but yes, y'all go to my Bell Collective live right after this because we're gonna do Bell Collective soon as we're there. And yes, she was in finance, absolutely. I don't know what she do today. I know it's questionable. I don't, if she's only just a housewife, that's fine. It just seems like she don't do much with her time when she's in costumes at the airport. Just saying. But that was pretty much, it. We know that Mary's coming later, so we can't wait to see her. And I just think that this episode's going to get even more intense. Right now, I still want to like Bronwyn, you guys. I'm still wanting for her to be on my good side, but she's she's scaling down for me because I don't know what it is about Bronwyn. I still don't like Brittany. Lisa didn't get on my nerves surprisingly this episode. Meredith, y'all already know how I feel. And as far as Whitney and Angie go, they didn't really do too much. I feel like they were fair this episode, so I'm going to give them that. But that was pretty much the episode. Mrs. Best, anything you want to add before we move on?
No, I think this is proof Whitney needs to go. Ever since her husband started acting a fool at that event, I mean, that's the only thing Whitney has given this season, and her husband did it for her. It's time for her to go.
Right, she getting on my nerves this season. I hope they let her go too. I hope what they do is they let Meredith and Whitney go, and they replace them two with Monica and Brittany. That's my hope. Because I want Monica to come back. I really do. But that was it. That was the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. It was a good episode. I'm not gonna lie. They are bringing it, y'all. They brought it this season. If they have filler episodes leading to the reunion, that's absolutely fine because they have brought it. Not one episode I felt was dull this season. That says a lot. So we're going to go over to my next slide, which will be Bell Collective. I hope to see everybody there because Bell Collective also was a good episode too. So we're going to see you guys then. And thank you guys. And he really do. He is giving Peter Thomas the white Peter Thomas of it all. He really is. But I will see you guys in my next recap. Thank you guys for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, please. I, want to make sure you guys are all subscribed to me if you are not. So I appreciate that. And thank you. Yes, it is. Jim Bunny, I'm so proud of you. You did a marathon today, y'all. Shout out to Jim Bunny doing that marathon. We here for it. We love it. But I'll see you guys in my next recap. I'm late. I gotta go, guys. Have a good one. Bye-bye.